Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and today we are talking about Palantir Technologies PLTR stock and SoFi Technologies SOFI stock. We're going to start off by talking about how Palantir has actually outpaced the overall market, and we're going to use the S&P 500 as a benchmark. Then we're going to go over the newest Palantir stock price predictions and targets by analysts, and then finally we're going to end talking about Palantir and the latest news updates by going over their future forecasts and projections for their upcoming earnings report in mid-February. After that, we're going to go over some SoFi stock news to determine if SoFi stock is a good buy right now because it has pulled back around 39%, or should we wait longer before we invest more into this company or not. So we're going to talk about that. Remember to go and like this video right now for more videos like this one. Comment your thoughts down below about Palantir and SoFi. Turn on all subscription notifications to stay informed, and now let's get right into today's stories. So in the last trading session, Palantir Technologies, ticker symbol PLTR, closed at around $18 or $18.53. And this has actually been an increase of around 1.76% from the previous day, which outpaced all of the indexes, including the S&P 500, which increased a little over 0.5%. The Dow Jones also gained about 0.68%, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ added about 0.46%. So in this case, in this particular trading day, Palantir Technologies outpaced all of the market indexes or the major indices. However, if we scroll down a little bit, we can see if we look over the full month that Palantir has actually lost about 4.06% of their overall stock appreciation. And if we compare it to the benchmark of the S&P 500, the stock market overall gained 4.56% if we're looking at the S&P 500 benchmark. However, what should excite investors is the approach of their newest earnings report. Palantir is set to bring in 3 cents per share for their earnings per share, which is amazing news. However, this would represent a decline of around 57% year over year. However, if we look at their revenues, Palantir is set to bring in $418.1 million for the quarter, which is an increase from the prior year of 29.81%. So that is fantastic news, which should excite investors. However, there has been recent changes to Palantir in terms of analyst price predictions and estimates, and I have those outlined right here. So the current stock price for the PLTR stock is around $18. The low end price target for Palantir remains $18. The average analyst price prediction is $23 per share, and the high end and fair value price of the stock is $31 per share. In 2022, I highly doubt that the stock is going to stay or maintain around $18. This is more of a bearish analyst price prediction, so I think Palantir is most likely going to settle between $31 to $23 per share. But if we look over at Zacks Rank's data, they have a ranking system between 1, which represents a strong buy or a good buying opportunity for a stock, and a 5, which is a strong sell, which means that you should sell the stock immediately if we follow Zacks Ranks. I personally don't really follow Zacks Ranks, but I always like on this channel to reach out to a plethora and a multitude of different analysts from different institutions and different websites so I can give you all a neutral view on various stocks. So Palantir right now, according to Zacks Rank, has a ranking or a rating of 3, which is a hold. And this makes sense because the majority of analysts are very bearish on Palantir Technologies because they don't see the future growth potential of this stock. However, I do want to add a caveat that if you want to invest into Palantir Technologies, you have to know that you are paying a huge premium for the stock because their forward price to earnings ratio is 124, and that represents a huge premium. So you're buying the stock rather expensively right now because their industry only has a PE ratio or a forward PE ratio of around 28. So Palantir is very expensive right now, and you are paying more than what the stock is currently worth. But if you are a growth investor and you are willing to wait 3 to 5 years for this stock, these stock prices are going to seem extremely cheap. I also want to point out that Palantir Technologies has a market cap of around $37 billion, so this is a good-sized company. And what's also good for investors is that a lot of retail investors own this company. So around 52.7% of retail investors own this stock. Also, it has good institutional backing of 31.3%. Individual insiders own around 10%, which means that's pretty healthy because we always want to see insiders holding the stock. If we consistently normally just see them sell the stock, it's not very good because it means that the insiders don't really see the future growth or value of the company. They just want to get paid now, so it could be a pump and dump scheme. But because insiders hold so much of this stock of around 10%, we can see that Palantir has great future potential. Also, around 5.4% public companies own the stock and 0.03% of state or governments own this stock. So overall, it's pretty diversified, and that's what we want to see. Now, it's also great to see stock charts like this one with a great positive slope over time. So the blue represents the increase in revenue over time, and as we can see, it has a beautiful positive slope. We also see the red, which overlaps the yellow, which is their free cash flow and their cash flow from operations. So those are always pretty going to be they're going to be close together the majority of the time, and these have a slight positive slope, but again, that's still good news. So this should really excite investors right here, and this is where the Palantir stock price is going to increase and be very volatile before it plateaus for a little bit before it then increases again in the future. I also want to point out that Peter Thiel, who I'm a giant fan of because he is an excellent investor, is one of the top executives of this company, and he owns around 6.9% of shares, and that is a great number to see. Also, the second and third largest shareholders own about 5.9% and 5.4% respectively, and the CEO, which is Alexander Karp, owns about 2.6% of the company's stock, and that is also good to see. Now, the reason why Alex Karp, who is the CEO, doesn't own more than 2.6% of the stock is that he has been selling very, very heavily for Palantir over the past year, and we can also see that the selling has somewhat teetered off. So we started about over 100,000 shares being sold. Majority of this is Alex Karp. Then it came to about 100,000 shares, and now it's only 25,000 shares, and I anticipate that it will continue to teeter off as time goes on, and that is going to be good news for investors. Now let's jump over to SoFi Technologies, SOFI stock, to see if the stock has hit a bottom yet, to determine if it's a good buying opportunity for retail investors. And again, this is not financial advice. These are just my thoughts and opinions about the stock. SoFi Technologies is a great financial technology company, ticker symbol SOFI, and it has recently plummeted around 39% from its all-time highs. And this is not good. However, we have seen this pullback in a multitude of finance, fintech, and newer companies, including SoFi. So SoFi is not different from any of these companies that are pulling back, and to me, this just provides a great buying opportunity for these stocks that have pulled back. What I really like about SoFi is that they have a mobile app that literally has anything someone would need when it comes to finance. And one of SoFi's main objectives is to consolidate everything that someone would need pertaining to finance into a single, very comprehensive and thorough app. Because right now, more than half of Americans at least currently have or use more than one bank. And SoFi just wants to be a singular bank that everyone wants to use because they offer everything. The reason why Americans use more than one bank is because no single bank provides all the necessary services that someone needs day to day. Now, SoFi is trying to break this trend through two main product categories, and that is going to be their lending solutions and their financial services. So over in their lending solutions, we can see things like home loans, student loans, personal loans, and in their financial services, we can see things like money management solutions, brokerage services where we can invest into stocks and cryptocurrencies, cashback payment cards like credit cards. They have credit monitoring, and they also offer insurance products from third parties, which is absolutely amazing. Another thing that's amazing about SoFi is that management believes they have a giant addressable market that is worth around $2 trillion. So even if SoFi does not become the new #1 fintech company, there is plenty of money to go around for a multitude of winners here. Now, again, I like SoFi because their single mobile app has extremely strong demand, and this is seen by their customer base increasing by around 90%. So the more members that they add, the more revenue that they're going to achieve. So their member growth grew by 90%, and their revenue increased by a little over 90% of 92%, and this is due to their cross-selling. I do want to add that SoFi has a negative free cash flow of $152 million for the first 9 months of 2021. However, there is huge market opportunity here, and I anticipate that they will be cash flow positive in the near future. SoFi also has huge catalysts coming up, including one of my favorite catalysts, which is their national bank charter, because they have already signed an agreement with Golden Pacific Bancorp in March of 2021, and we are just waiting for that to be 100% finalized, and this is going to increase their revenues, their addressable market, and it's going to attract more customers. So this is going to be a gigantic catalyst. So if you are going to get into SoFi Technologies, you can wait for it to pull back even more, but in my opinion, you would want to get in before this huge catalyst ends up going off. If we scroll down here, we can also see that SoFi, just like Palantir, is trading at a premium, but in this instance, we're going to use the price to sales ratio of 12.6, which is better than some other companies, but it's not as good as Block, which used to be called Square, or PayPal, which has or trades at around a price to sales ratio of 5.1 times sales or 9.1 times sales respectively. So you are paying a lot for SoFi, more than you would be paying for Block and PayPal. However, I think because of SoFi's all-inclusive one-stop shop comprehensive app, that this is worth the premium right now. However, if you can invest or you haven't invested yet, feel free to wait for a further pullback, because again, we can't predict the bottom of this stock, but we know that it's already fallen around 39%, and to me that is a pretty good deal. And I also wouldn't be surprised, based off of the management's growth strategy and how they're reinvesting into their own company, the stock could increase or triple 3 to 5-fold over the next 10 years, which is absolutely amazing. So in the span of 2 years, it's growing around 50%. The current stock price for SoFi Technologies, ticker symbol SOFI, is $14.86. If we go over here, we can also see that the low-end price target for the stock is $19 per share. The average price target for the stock is $25.43. And the high-end price prediction for the stock is $30 per share. And this is all in the span of just 1 year growth. So technically, the stock price could double to $30 by the end of 2022. But what do you all think? Comment your thoughts down below. Like this video right now for more videos like this one. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next YT video.